Good evening, I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. 42 days and 9 road deaths, the latest occurring in St. George this evening. Lisa Broom reports.
It was just before 4 this evening when the young St. Philip resident met her death. Those at the scene say the girl was going to meet her mother, who was working in the area. Reports suggest the young Springer School student had just exited a bus and was crossing when the accident occurred. CBC spoke to Acting Inspector PRO Roland Cobbler, who was at the scene.
Police are at this time conducting investigations into the circumstances which resulted in a road fatality here at Borden Hall, Main Road, St. George, involving a motor car and a pedestrian. The life of a 12-year-old Springer girl was lost in this collision. Our investigations in this matter will be continued to determine the exact cause of this accident, which occurred around 24 minutes to 4 this afternoon.
9 people have lost their lives on our roads since the year started. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
Well, that's very sad news indeed. And joining us now is road safety advocate Junior Jordan. Junior, good evening.
Good evening to you, Shane, and to viewers.
So, Junior, 9 deaths already for the year we've just heard, and last year we had 10 deaths for the entire year. Have you been able to identify any reasons for this upsurge?
I think in some cases this is a very staggering statistic, and we have to give condolences to the family of the young lady and all persons who've lost their lives on our streets. But we want people to understand there's an attention span that weakens, and basically to cross any street anywhere on the island, we must make sure that the roads are absolutely clear. But most importantly, we need to look to our right, then to our left, and then back to our right before we cross any street. And also, we want to ask, in training you're asked, what if? Whenever you're driving anywhere, always expect the unexpected, i.e. somebody crossing, somebody coming up from a side road without stopping, so that you, the motorist, must be in a position to slow down and possibly stop if you have to.
Okay. So, Junior, those are some things that we want motorists, pedestrians to be aware of. Is there anything that can be done technologically to assist with the people doing these things?
The thing is that we as drivers, the human being is the single most important element in any scheme of driving. In the overseas jurisdictions, particularly when there are school buses, the arm comes out at the back of the bus and all traffic ceases to pass. We don't as yet have that system in Barbados. Perhaps it's about time we consider thinking of that. But more important to that is this. Parents and guardians really ought to sit down and continue to speak with their children and charges and continue educating them with the rudiments of safe walking, safe riding, and anything they do on the streets that adds up to safety. But motorists must always be on the lookout for what if, so that they can control the vehicle.
Okay. So, Junior, you know, sometimes you're driving on the highway, you're driving and you see a souped up car fly past you,
yes,
or a motorcycle, someone's wheeling,
yes,
and these guys are doing these things most of the time in the middle of the day,
yes,
and they're pretty bold. Do you think that anything stronger needs to be put in our legislation?
The legislation is there already. What happens is due process takes some time. And I know that the Royal Barbados Police Force do a fantastic job at reporting, but the system takes its time in terms of due process to go to the court system. But generally, we want to make an appeal to all persons, whether you ride a motorcycle, whether you're a bicyclist, whether you're a pedestrian, or whether you drive a bus or an SUV, be always looking out for each other and put yourself in the other person's shoes. Because sometimes we don't really understand the seriousness of it until it comes to our doorsteps, which is what we don't want. And I also want to say that let not this young life unfortunately be lost in vain. Let us learn something from this. Let us understand that we need to understand the basics of road safety so that we continue to reduce the road. As I said, 10 compared to last year, and 9 now, that's a staggering statistic.
Yeah. Junior, I know a lot of times when these things happen, then we react and we
yes,
bring you live on like a night like tonight.
Yes.
How can we approach it differently?
I think that we have to get back to more training in the schools, more information on the television, more information in the print media, but generally a bigger awareness is needed. Also, but it has to be a continuous process. We cannot give up, because one life lost is always one too many. One life lost is always one too many.
Thank you so much. This is Junior
Pleasure's
Jordan,
mine.
road safety advocate, joining us there. Embattled Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Delal Worrell, will continue to serve in that capacity at least until Friday, and his lawyers are willing to go above and beyond to ensure that justice is served in the matter.
It was all smiles from Central Bank Governor Dr. Delal Worrell as he stepped into the Supreme Court at around 1 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. And so far, the results have been in his favor. Submissions were made for almost 3 hours in the number 9 Supreme Court to determine whether the injunction filed on Sunday night to prevent the Minister of Finance from firing him is to be discharged or maintained. His attorney, Gregory Nichols, says so far it's been maintained. However, the matter will be back in court on Friday when cases are formally filed. He contends that the fundamental issue is whether the finance minister can exercise his inherent power in relation to the governor to fire him, and if this falls outside the provisions set out by Parliament in the Central Bank Act.
We contend that the minister doesn't have a power to get around the provisions of the Act. The Act sets out how a director, including the governor of the central bank, can be removed, and until that process has been followed, then the minister's arrogation unto himself of a power to remove him by virtue of him signing a letter of engagement employing the governor, he can go outside of the confines of the Central Bank Act.
It's understood that fellow colleagues on the board of the central bank had verbally communicated their dissatisfaction to Dr. Worrell in a formal meeting with the Minister of Finance. Mr. Nichols says he's confident the decision will be handed down in favor of Dr. Worrell and believes his swiftness to act on Sunday night was integral in preventing a serious misuse of power by Finance Minister Chris Sinclair. Furthermore, he is attempting to dispel any notions that the issue at hand was a consequence of financial policies put in place by the governor.
The fact that the minister and the governor have a disagreement as it relates to monetary policy or fiscal policy in Barbados is not, in our respectful view, the correct exercise of the powers of the minister. He can go under Section 49 and give direction. If he wants to print money from now to the cows come home, he can do so. But he must do it through the provisions set out in the Act. To go outside of the Act, in our mind, is unlawful.
While the finance minister was not at the hearing, he was represented by Solicitor General Jennifer Edwards, who did not speak to the press. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
It appears a resolution is on the horizon for Sanitation Service Authority workers whose pay was docked following industrial action back in 2015. General Secretary of the National Union of Public Workers, Rosalind Smith, disclosed that the matter was brought to the Ministry of Labour for their conciliation services. And now it's just a matter of reviewing final details.
We already know exactly the dates that were docked, and we just want to verify that. So in going forward, it looks as though we will be in a position to close this matter relating to the SSA workers.
An increasing number of Barbadians are licensing their dogs. The increase could be linked to the recent death of a St. Michael woman who was mauled a few weeks ago. And there's also a suggestion that it's time to get with the new technology available. If you're going to get your dog registered, then the Animal Control Center located at the Lazaretto in Blackrock is the place to do it. That agency has the responsibility for controlling the island's dog population. Acting Control Officer Peter Belgrave says the center also responds to complaints and collects stray and unwanted dogs. Mr. Belgrave believes that Barbadians are generally aware of the need to license their dogs. But Inspector with the RSPCA, Wayne Norval, says several dog owners have been asking in recent weeks where they could obtain licenses. In any event, new dog licenses for 2017 have more than quadrupled those for the same period last year. Mr. Belgrave says the penalty for an unlicensed dog once ownership can be proven is $250 or 1 month in prison. He also wants dog owners to ensure their records with the center are kept current by reporting changes to their contact information and dog status, noting that licenses are not transferable. Mr. Norval, however, wants to move away from the traditional tags, which he says can be lost or moved from one dog to another. He's again suggesting the introduction of microchipping.
Microchipping can work for more than one cause. One is to identify the dog, the owner of the dog. But yet it can identify the dog if it is lost, and it can be reported to the, if it is found, it can be reported to the owner. If the dog is struck in the road and there's a way of reading that microchip, you could find the owner of the dog. You could use microchipping for various reasons, but once that chip goes into the dog, there's no way anybody could tamper with it.
Mr. Norval also agrees that owners should insure their dogs so victims could be compensated in case of incident. CBC contacted 10 local insurance companies and only 2 confirmed that pets could be insured along with contents under a home insurance policy. The problem, however, is that none of the agencies offer standalone pet insurance. Pediatric ophthalmology will come under the microscope at this year's Barbados Ophthalmology Conference starting tomorrow at the Accra Beach Hotel. Oculoplastic and reconstructive surgeon Dr. Kim Jabad Singh says the 2017 installation will be one of the biggest.
We're actually very fortunate to have 8 pediatric ophthalmologists coming from all around the world. So we have some from the UK, Canada, the US, Suriname, Trinidad, and of course from Barbados. And this is going to be a very exciting conference. We have about 20 speakers coming from all around the world, and we have about 100 attendees. And actually Dr. Hines has come in from the UK. She's one of us, she's a Barbadian, but she's training there doing her fellowship in pediatric ophthalmology. Nice. So it's very exciting for us having this conference this year.
Dr. Jabad Singh says the 3-day conference will give trainees vital hands-on experience.
So we brought in model eyes, and they're going to practice doing surgery on those eyes, which is a great thing, so that they can do this before they actually do it on people in Barbados. So it's a great practice for them. And we're also going to be doing at the wet lab things like probing, just what we were describing, showing the trainees how to do the probing on skulls. And this is also a great thing for them to learn these techniques prior to doing it on the babies.
Okay, we'll take a short break here and come back with more news.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153 to sign up to Digicel today.
Need affordable motor insurance? Get up to 30% off plus additional discounts for new and used vehicles. Call 436-6200 or log on to beacon.co.tt. Where you need us, when you need us.
A lot of people think that fast bikes are cool, and the girls sure like the guys who ride them. But like so many things about life, you gotta be careful. Having sex without a condom is like riding a bike without a helmet. It's just plain dumb. It's okay to have fun as long as you're smart about it. My name is Daniel the Lion Fortress, and I'm different, and I'm making a difference.
Live up. Love, protect, respect.
Need affordable motor insurance? Get up to 30% off plus additional discounts for new and used vehicles. Call 436-6200 or log on to beacon.co.tt. Where you need us, when you need us.
The search continues for Marlon Omar George, almost a week on since he was the subject of a wanted person bulletin. The 31-year-old of number 16 Arden Close, the Pine St. Michael, is being sought in connection with serious criminal matters. He goes by the aliases Mally, Gongles, and Ranger. George is about 5 feet 9 inches in height, of medium build, and is of light brown complexion. He also has several scars on his face. He is again advised that he can present himself at the District A police station, accompanied by an attorney at law of his choice. Any person who may know the whereabouts of George is asked to contact the nearest police station. The film and video skills of young Barbadians will be in sharp focus this year. This as the National Cultural Foundation and the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union Limited launched the inaugural Junior Videography competition. The competition is open to young people between 10 and 17 years old. Chief Cultural Officer of the NCF, Andrea Wells, described the initiative as an investment in the youth and cultural industry.
With every such investment, there needs to be educational training programs in order to equip our future workforce in the skills necessary to exploit this. Film video is dynamic. It's one of the quickest growing sectors, I think, in Barbados because of the wide availability of this new technology. And I think we owe it to our constituents to ensure that there's training available and opportunities available for them to exploit and develop their interests.
The NCF will be offering a digital arts camp at the Errol Barrow Center for Creative Imagination during the Easter vacation. Also, a junior category will be introduced in film and video for the NIFCA competition. Easy access to education at all levels has played a major part in the country's progress over the years. That's the view of Barbadian educator and author Dr. Dan Carter. Dr. Carter was speaking at the Alfred Pragnell Memorial Lecture on the story of education in Barbados at the Holetown Methodist Church.
Barbados was fortunate to have, especially from the beginning of the 20th century, a virtual schoolroom in nearly every major village. Accessibility to basic education was therefore commonplace, and this, in my opinion, has been responsible for the highest rate in social and economic progress the country has experienced.
Dr. Carter delivered a thorough account of the development of the local education system from the time of slavery to present-day society. According to him, Barbadian parents have always regarded schooling as a means of liberating their offspring. Despite the current economic climate, Dr. Carter hopes the traditional high regard for education in Barbados will continue.
Barbados, we are experiencing some difficulties, and therefore free secondary education from the cradle to the grave may not be something that we can look forward to, but hopefully at the university level, where our students have been asked to pay pay a part of their tuition and all that, we'll hope that there will be continuing efforts to ensure that majority of students still are able to access tertiary level education.